welcome back to the Exhausted Guru. No. The Compressor Guru. I'm burning the candle at both ends. That's incorrect. I broke the candle in half and I got 4 ends lit right now and I'm trying to keep them all going. Anyway, I'm actually gearing up for this time of year. We're filming this in late February. It'll be early March when this goes up. And every spring I get phone calls from body shop customers in particular, sometimes others, but usually body shop customers. And let me pretend to have a conversation like I normally hear in the spring in central Pennsylvania. Up in the Northeast we get a lot of rain in the springtime. Rain, Steiner's. Hi, this is Joe's Blow's Body Shop, and we're getting a lot of water in our air right now, and I can't trust that I'm not going to ruin $1,500 worth of paint on this car because I'm getting so much extra moisture in my air right now. Can you help me? Yes, I can. Do you have an air dryer? Well, yeah, I have an air dryer. This is not an air dryer. This is a water trap. This is an air filter. This is not a dryer. So they answer yes, and I go, well, what kind do you have? A desiccant or refrigerated? And they go, we bought it at Sears. It goes on a line coming out of the tank. Okay, you don't have an air dryer. You have a water trap or you have an air filter. Okay, so what other filtration do you have? Oh, none. We just run a hose from the tank to the spray booth. Okay. So today on the Compressor Guru, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through how Steiner's Compressor and Supply would remedy this problem for that body shop. And drying air, I'm going to tell you right up front, is not cheap. Our very first video that we put up June 1st, 2020 on 5 mistakes shops make when they run their pipe is, and I'll put the link to that in the description, those 5 mistakes, if you do those 5 things, you're going to eliminate a fair amount of water. But beyond that, improving the quality of air for painting is expensive. You know, when you have a fender bender and it's $2,000 damage, it's not just labor. The material, the paint is extraordinarily expensive, and the guys at the shop, they'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment, not just spray equipment, but in order to fix that car and fix it right. So when you have compressed air, people go, well, my compressor's making water. No, your compressor's not making water. Your compressor is compressing the atmospheric air, which has humidity in it. Another word for humidity is water. So that water in gas form humidity compresses into the air, and it's still a gas. When you decompress that air, it has a cooling effect. You know, compression causes heat, decompression causes cooling. So when you decompress the air, it lets the water condensate at the decompression point. So when it decompresses, so you've got your spray gun going and you've got pressurized air and you're depressurizing it, that's the point where the water is going to condensate as it leaves that spray gun. So there's several things we can do. First off, like I told you in the 5 mistakes, we use gravity and distance as our friend for compressed air. Beyond that, we have air-cooled aftercoolers. That's basically step 1, and that'll do a lot in the respect of removing massive amounts of water from the air. I want you to pretend there is a giant air tank, and we're not going to say what size the air tank is, but it's a humid day. You compress that tank to 175 pounds, and in that tank, this is why I didn't specify the size of the tank, in that tank If you took all the moisture that's in that tank and magically got it out of the air, you'd have well over a bucket of water in moisture in that giant tank. So you have this giant tank and you got a bunch of air compressed into it, and let's run it through an air-cooled aftercooler. And there's several types. I'm going to put a couple up here. One kind is the kind that you bolt on the belt guard of your air compressor, and when your compressor runs it cools air. Another kind is a standalone, and there's advantages and disadvantages to the standalone and the belt guard. The standalone takes up some floor space, but it actually does just a little bit better job than the belt guard. That being said, so you run your compressed air in this giant tank through an air-cooled aftercooler, and you run it into the next tank, the same size tank, and you move all that air from one tank to the other tank through the aftercooler. And the bottom of that tank now has a bunch of condensed water in it. And if you drain that tank out, you're going to find about a bucket of water. Keep that in mind. So we drain the tank and we have drier air than we had before. Now, believe it or not, this air is not quite good enough to paint with. Sometimes it is, depends how your shop's set up. Sometimes it isn't. So we have another tank. It's empty right now. And we have this giant tank that still has some moisture in it, but we've already taken a bucket of water out. We now run it through a air dryer, and there's several types of air dryers. Desiccant, which is cheaper but higher maintenance, and refrigerated, which is more money, lower maintenance, and a shorter life. The average lifespan on a refrigerated dryer, I would say, averages 5 to 7 years. The desiccant dryer, the ones I like is a Developus DAD500. I'll put the specs in the description. The ones I like, their lifespan is basically indefinite. However, depending on how busy your body shop is, you're going to be changing desiccant perhaps once a month. So you have a maintenance factor to consider with a desiccant. There's another kind of desiccant. It's called a tower desiccant, where it's a regenerative tower desiccant, and you lose some of your compressed air cycling that, and they last a good long time, and they are more expensive, and if you have a maintenance or service issue with them, they are more difficult to work on. The refrigerated dryers can be more difficult to work on. So I'm a little biased towards the EAD 500, the Developus, but we sell the refrigerator dryers as well. So now we run it either through a desiccant dryer from this tank that we've already taken a bucket of water out of. We run it through the desiccant dryer, or we run it through a refrigerated dryer, and it's now in the third tank. And that third tank is actually high enough quality to paint with. Now, do you know how much water we got out of that dryer? Out of the trap on the dryer? We got about a cup. So in the first step through the air-cooled aftercooler, we got a bucket. In the second step through the dryer, we got about a cup. How much water is left in that air? I'll tell you at the end of the episode. Now we have a third tank, and this is high quality dry air. You're ready to paint. I do want to back up a little bit and talk about the refrigerated dryer. The refrigerated dryer, you cannot hook directly to the tank on a compressor without using an aftercooler. However, there are refrigerated dryers, and I sell them, that are meant to handle high temperature air. Before you run the air through the dryer, you've got to cool it off some. So you either have to have some distance between the compressor and the point of use. I have customers that have refrigerated dryers by the paint booth 50, 60 feet away from the air compressor. So that air actually has a chance to cool low enough to be able to use on the dryer without an aftercooler. So that's another factor to be considering if you're going, I want to dry the air for the shop. And some shops want to dry every bit of air, and the techs appreciate dry air because they have air tools, and the drier, cleaner air you can have for your air tools, the longer your tools last. So some shops actually go to great length to keep their air dry for their techs so that their tools last longer. And you techs out there know what you pay for air tools, and you appreciate this. The disadvantage to your desiccant dryers is if you use recycled desiccant, and I had this problem with a customer because we recycle desiccant. We sell new desiccant, we recycle desiccant for some customers. But the problem with desiccant, if you recycle it, you have to put a good filter downstream from the desiccant dryer. I recommend the MotoGuard. I'll put the information in the description right off the top of my head. I can't come up with the part number for it, but that information will be in the description. And it will take any desiccant dust that you may accumulate from recycled desiccant out before your air usage. So this spring, when it starts raining and you're trying to paint a car and you get a drop of water that you just ruined, a lot of money in paint or clear coat, you may want to back up and go, gee, I better call Bud and have him send me a desiccant dryer or a refrigerated dryer. I can't service you all over the country, but we can get you the new equipment so that you can install it yourself and solve your problems. I hope this information is helpful. This is the Compressor Guru, and I hope you have a great day, and you can contact me through thecompressorguru.com and like, subscribe, do all those internet things. We appreciate you. God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Compressor Guru. Please hit like and subscribe and use the notify bell so you will know when the next new episode is released from The Compressor Guru. God bless you and have a great day.
This is the exhausted Compressor Guru.